Let's talk about something we all want, but many don't fully understand: a happy relationship. See, most people go looking for the perfect partner. They create lists, swipe endlessly, chase ideal images. But here's the truth: happy relationships aren't built on perfection. They're built on trust. It's easy to love someone when everything's going right, but the secret shows up in the moments of struggle, in the arguments, the confusion, the insecurity. The real test is, can I trust you to still show up when it's hard? Can I trust you with my truth? That's where happiness begins. Not in a fairy tale, but in the foundation. And here's something we don't talk about enough. It's not the big romantic gestures that sustain love. It's the tiny, almost invisible acts of connection. It's the text that says, I'm proud of you, the hand on your back when you're anxious. The eye contact that says, I see you, I'm with you. These small things, they compound. Are we building a family, creating a legacy, growing together as people? When a relationship has a purpose, the hard times don't break it. They refine it. Because in the end, here's the truth no one tells you. The real romance is growth. It's watching your partner evolve. It's challenging each other to rise higher. It's knowing you're better people because of the relationship, not just happier, but stronger. Happy relationship doesn't mean the absence of problems. It means you've built something strong enough to hold the weight of life. So if you want to know the secret to a happy relationship, don't look for perfect. Don't chase the fantasy. Build the foundation. Trust deeply. Connect daily. Listen fully. Fight fairly. Align your purpose. Grow constantly. We live in a world obsessed with perfection. Social media shows us curated highlight reels, smiling couples, picture-perfect vacations, candlelit dinners, and effortless romance. And so, somewhere along the way, many of us begin to believe that the key to a happy relationship is finding the perfect person, someone who never messes up, never argues, never disappoints. But that idea, it's not just unrealistic, it's dangerous. Because the truth is, the foundation of a truly happy relationship isn't built on perfection, it's built on trust. Perfection is an illusion. Trust is a choice. And it's that choice made over and over again that creates the emotional safety we all crave in a relationship. We don't fall in love with people because they never make mistakes. We fall in love with people who we believe will be there even when things get messy. People who stay. People who care. People who show up not only when we're at our best, but especially when we're at our worst. A relationship rooted in the expectation of perfection is fragile. One wrong word, one missed text, one bad day, and the whole thing begins to crack. Why? Because it was built on performance, not on presence. But when a relationship is built on trust, it becomes resilient. It can bend without breaking. It can weather the storms because both people know, no matter what happens, I've got you, and you've got me. Trust is not something that happens instantly. It's earned slowly, moment by moment. It grows in the silence between conversations, in the honesty of difficult truths, in the consistency of actions matching words. It's created when someone says, you can be vulnerable with me. You can be real with me. I won't use it against you. I won't run. And here's the thing, trust makes room for imperfection. It doesn't demand flawlessness. It welcomes humanness. It says, I know you'll make mistakes, so will I. But we'll work through them together. That kind of mindset doesn't just strengthen relationships, it transforms them. Because when people feel safe, they stop hiding, they stop pretending, and they start showing up fully. You can't be truly loved if you're not truly seen. But to be seen, you have to be willing to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is impossible without trust. Think about it. How many people walk through relationships with walls up, constantly trying to protect themselves from being hurt? They wear masks. They say, I'm fine, when they're not. They avoid difficult conversations, all because deep down, they're afraid. If you see the real me, you'll leave. But a relationship built on trust dissolves that fear. It replaces judgment with understanding. It replaces control with compassion. It becomes a space where both people can grow, not in spite of their imperfections, but through them. Perfection might impress someone for a while, but trust will hold a relationship for a lifetime. Because in the end, the person who makes you feel safest will always mean more than the person who seems flawless. You don't need someone who never lets you down. You need someone who never walks away when you're down. So stop chasing the perfect partner. Be the partner who can be trusted. The one who listens, the one who forgives, the one who stays even when it's inconvenient. That's where real love begins. Not in the pursuit of perfection, but in the practice of trust. And that's the real secret of a happy relationship. Connection doesn't just blossom in grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It grows in the small, seemingly insignificant moments. It's in the way someone remembers your favorite coffee order, how they pause a conversation to really listen, or how they reach for your hand without thinking. These aren't the kinds of moments people write songs about or post on social media. They're quiet, gentle, and often unnoticed by anyone outside the relationship. But they're the ones that form the foundation of true connection. In our fast-paced world, we often overlook these moments. We chase milestones, anniversaries, vacations, proposals, believing that those are the things that define closeness. And while those experiences do carry weight, they're not the glue that holds people together. It's what happens between those highlights that matters most. It's the everyday check-ins, the shared glances across a crowded room, the inside jokes, and the silent understanding that don't need to be explained. Connection deepens through consistency. When you show up day after day, even in the smallest ways, it creates a safe emotional space. Trust begins to grow when someone learns that they can rely on you. Not just during life's major events, but in its ordinary rhythm. Saying good morning every day, noticing when someone is quieter than usual, offering to help before being asked. These gestures say, I see you, I care about you. And over time, they build a strong emotional bank account that can weather the storms. It's also in the way we respond during vulnerable moments. When someone opens up about their insecurities or shares a bad day, the way we react sends a powerful message. Do we brush it off? Do we change the subject? Or do we lean in, make space, and simply say, I'm here? It's in those quiet seconds when someone chooses to be vulnerable and we choose to honor that vulnerability, that connection either grows or diminishes. Many people spend their lives searching for deep connection without realizing that it's available to them every single day. It's in the morning text that says, I'm thinking of you. It's in the habit of putting down your phone when someone is talking. It's in the choice to be present, especially when it's easier not to be. And when both people in a relationship make these kinds of small investments, the bond becomes unshakable. Even conflict, when handled with care, can become an opportunity for deeper connection. It's not about avoiding disagreement, but about how you navigate it together when you show respect, patience, and a willingness to understand. Even when emotions are high, it communicates love on a deeper level. You're not just arguing to be right, you're fighting for the relationship. That perspective shift is often what transforms a temporary rupture into long-term resilience. Connection isn't about intensity, it's about intentionality. It's choosing over and over again to engage, to support, and to care in small, meaningful ways. The truth is, those who master the art of showing up in little moments are the ones who end up building the biggest love stories, not the kind made for movies, but the kind built to last. So, if you want more connection in your relationships, start small, be curious, be thoughtful, be consistent, pay attention to the details, and don't underestimate the power of a kind word, a gentle touch, or a simple act of being present. Because in the end, it's those little moments stacked one on top of another that create the kind of closeness we all crave. Communication is the lifeline of any relationship, yet it's also where many relationships silently begin to unravel. We're taught how to speak, how to form sentences, make arguments, deliver our thoughts clearly, but we're rarely taught how to truly listen. And without both, communication becomes incomplete. For a relationship to thrive, we must learn to speak to be understood, and just as importantly, we must learn to listen to understand. Speaking to be understood doesn't mean talking louder or more often or with bigger words. It means expressing yourself with honesty, vulnerability, and clarity. It's not about winning a point or defending your ego. It's about creating a bridge between your internal world and your partner's. It's saying, here's what I'm feeling, here's what I need, and here's why it matters to me, not to blame or attack, but to invite connection and understanding. But many people don't speak this way. Instead, they speak from frustration, from fear, from reactivity. They say things to defend themselves or to push the other person away before they can get hurt. The result? Miscommunication, misunderstanding. Two people talking at each other, but neither feeling heard. That's where listening comes in. And not just hearing words, but listening to understand. Most of us listen to respond. We're already preparing our reply while the other person is still speaking. We listen through the filter of our own emotions, assumptions, and judgments. But listening to understand requires something deeper. It requires patience, curiosity, a willingness to quiet our own thoughts and ask, what is my partner really trying to say? When we truly listen, we do more than hear words. We hear emotions. We notice the tone behind the sentence. We catch the hesitation, the hurt, the unspoken need between the lines. We create space for the other person to feel safe enough to open up even more. And that space is everything. Because when someone feels deeply heard, they feel valued, they feel respected, they feel seen, not just on the surface, but at the core of who they are. That kind of validation builds intimacy, it builds trust, it creates a bond that goes far beyond logic or agreement. It's emotional connection at its purest. And here's the beautiful part. When you listen to understand, your partner becomes more willing to do the same for you. Communication becomes less of a battlefield and more of a shared journey. You stop fighting to be right and you start working together to get it right. Even in conflict, there's collaboration. Even in disagreement, there's still love. This kind of communication takes practice. It takes humility and self-awareness. It means pausing when you want to interrupt. It means asking, help me understand what you're feeling, instead of jumping into solutions. It means being brave enough to say, that hurt me, and compassionate enough to reply, I didn't know, tell me more. Speak not to impress or defend, speak to connect. Speak so your partner understands you, not just your words, but your heart. And when it's your turn to listen, listen not to fix, but to feel. Listen with the intent to understand the experience they're having. Because the relationships that last aren't the ones with the least amount of conflict. They're the ones where both people feel heard, understood, and emotionally safe. When you get the communication right, you don't just solve problems, you build a deeper, richer, more lasting love. In any relationship, there will be disagreements, challenges, and moments where emotions run high. That's inevitable. What isn't inevitable, though, is how those moments are handled. Many people enter relationships unconsciously treating them like competitions. Someone has to be right, someone has to win, someone has to have the last word. But this mindset turns the relationship into a tug of war where both partners are pulling in opposite directions, hoping the other gives in first. The real secret to a healthy, happy relationship is realizing this. You're on the same team. It's not about winning arguments. It's about winning together. When a problem arises, it shouldn't be you versus your partner. It should be both of you versus the problem. That shift in perspective changes everything. Because when you approach a relationship as a team, your goal becomes mutual understanding, not personal victory. Teammates look out for each other, they communicate, they strategize, they bring their unique strengths to the table and work in harmony to overcome obstacles. And most importantly, they trust that even when things aren't going smoothly, they're still on the same side. When couples forget this, tension builds. Arguments become about ego rather than solutions. Instead of resolving issues, both people become focused on proving a point, defending themselves, or trying not to appear weak. The connection suffers, and over time, resentment grows. But when a couple chooses collaboration over competition, they create a safe space where both voices matter and both perspectives are respected. That doesn't mean you'll always agree. In fact, part of being a strong team is recognizing and respecting differences. You and your partner may have different communication styles, emotional needs, or ways of solving problems. That's normal. But instead of seeing those differences as threats, team-minded partners see them as assets. Where one is weak, the other can be strong. Where one is emotional, the other can be calm. Together, they balance each other. Being on the same team also means taking accountability. If you make a mistake, you own it. Not to feel guilty, but to protect the integrity of the team. If your partner is struggling, you support them, not because they owe you something in return, but because their win is your win too. When one of you is hurting, both of you feel it. And when one of you succeeds, both of you celebrate. This mindset of partnership also changes the way you communicate during conflict. Instead of saying, "You always do this," or "Why can't you just understand me?" a teammate says, "Here's how I feel, and here's what I need from us to move forward." It's less about assigning blame and more about finding a path forward together. Healthy relationships require cooperation, not control. They require the humility to compromise and the courage to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable. They thrive on shared values, shared goals, and a shared belief that no matter what happens, you'll face it side by side. And let's be honest, life throws curveballs. Whether it's stress, health issues, career challenges, or family struggles, every couple will face adversity. The couples who endure aren't the ones who never fight. They're the ones who keep reminding each other, even in the middle of a disagreement, we're in this together. So the next time you feel yourself pulling in the opposite direction, stop and remember, the real win isn't in being right. It's in being united. Choose collaboration over competition. Choose partnership over pride, because in the end, a relationship isn't a tug of war to be won. It's a team to be strengthened every single day. Many people enter relationships searching for connection, love, and companionship. And while those are essential, what often goes unnoticed is the need for something deeper: purpose. Love may bring two people together, but purpose is what gives that love direction. Without it, relationships can feel like they're just drifting, going through the motions, reacting to life rather than intentionally moving through it together. Purpose in a relationship isn't just about big goals like marriage, children, or buying a house, although those can certainly be part of it. Purpose is the why behind the relationship. Why are we choosing each other every day? What are we building together? Who are we becoming because of this partnership? When a couple is clear on their shared purpose, they have a compass that guides them through both calm and stormy seasons. Without purpose, even strong feelings can fade, because love, while powerful, needs structure. It needs a reason to grow and evolve. Otherwise, couples can get stuck in routines, distracted by the day-to-day, losing sight of the bigger picture. Over time, without that deeper reason for being together, the connection can weaken and doubts begin to creep in. Not because the love is gone, but because the direction is missing. On the other hand, when a relationship has a clear purpose, it becomes resilient. It's easier to navigate challenges because both people know what they're working toward. It might be building a life filled with peace and mutual support. It might be helping each other grow into the best version of themselves. It might be raising a family or making an impact on the world together. Whatever it is, that shared purpose becomes the foundation and the fuel for everything else. Purpose also creates alignment. It ensures that both people are not just in love, but also moving in the same direction. When you and your partner have different or unspoken goals, tension builds. You start feeling like you're not understood, not seen, or even being pulled in opposite directions. But when your visions are aligned, you begin to operate like a true partnership. Decisions become easier and sacrifices feel meaningful rather than burdensome. It's also important to recognize that individual purpose and shared purpose can and should coexist. In fact, a healthy relationship supports both. Each person should have the freedom to pursue their personal growth, passions, and dreams, but the relationship should also have its own identity, its own mission. That dual focus creates a dynamic where both people thrive individually and together. Purpose also brings depth to the relationship during hard times. When life gets messy, and it always does, your shared why becomes your anchor. When disagreements happen, purpose reminds you that you're not fighting against each other, you're fighting for something bigger. It gives you perspective, helping you zoom out from the emotion of the moment and reconnect to what truly matters. But here's the thing, purpose doesn't just appear. It's built through intentional conversations, shared experiences, and mutual reflection. It takes asking questions like, what do we value most? What kind of life are we creating together? How can we support each other's dreams while still growing our connection? These conversations are powerful. They don't just clarify, they connect. So if your relationship feels like it's lost its spark or direction, don't ask if the love is gone. Ask if the purpose has been forgotten. Revisit it, redefine it, rediscover it. In the end, love may start the relationship, but purpose is what carries it forward. It's the compass, the glue, and the legacy you build together. In the early stages of a relationship, everything feels exciting. Butterflies, late night conversations, spontaneous dates. Romance is effortless. But as time passes, that initial spark can fade. The routine set in. The novelty wears off. And many people start to wonder, where did the romance go? The truth is, real romance doesn't disappear, it evolves. It matures. It moves beyond candlelight dinners and surprise gifts. The deepest form of romance isn't found in fleeting moments of passion, but in something far more lasting. Growth. Growth is the quiet, steady force that transforms a relationship from something temporary into something enduring. It's in the way two people challenge each other to become better, not by pushing, but by inspiring. It's when you look at your partner and see not just who they are, but who they're becoming. And you love both versions just as much. A lot of people chase the feeling of love. But real love, the kind that lasts, is built on evolution, on learning, on rising together. It's romantic to support each other's goals. It's romantic to hold each other accountable, not with criticism, but with care. It's romantic to say, I believe in who you are, and I believe even more in who you're becoming. Relationships that don't grow eventually grow stale, and it's not because something went wrong. It's because nothing new is happening. Growth gives love momentum. It keeps the connection alive because both people are expanding, changing, and discovering new parts of themselves and each other. You fall in love over and over again, not with a stranger, but with a familiar soul who continues to unfold in new ways. But growth isn't always easy. It requires vulnerability. It means being willing to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself and your relationship. It means having difficult conversations, letting go of ego, and being honest about what needs to change. That's not the kind of thing you see in romantic comedies, but it's the foundation of real intimacy. Supporting growth also means accepting that your partner is imperfect and never will be. Neither are you. But love says, I see your flaws and I choose you anyway. Growth means making space for imperfection and seeing it as part of the journey, not a reason to give up. It's understanding that a relationship isn't about finding someone who never challenges you. It's about finding someone who helps you rise when you do get challenged. And here's something people often miss. Personal growth and relationship growth go hand in hand. The more self-aware you become, the more capable you are of loving well. The more you develop emotional intelligence, patience, empathy, the stronger your connection becomes. You don't just grow as a couple, you grow as individuals who are better equipped to love deeply and wisely. Real romance is in the way your partner celebrates your wins like they're their own. It's in the patience they offer when you're struggling. It's in the late night pep talks, the morning check-ins, the quiet belief that together you can handle anything. That's the kind of romance that doesn't fade, it deepens. So if you're looking for a lasting, meaningful relationship, stop chasing butterflies. Start chasing growth. Ask yourself, are we better together than we were yesterday? Are we helping each other become more of who we're meant to be? Because the real fairy tale isn't two people staying the same forever. It's two people choosing to grow hand in hand through every season of life. That's where the magic is. That's where the romance lives.